But one thing I wanted to touch on. Now, this man has revolutionised our team and changed the way we play. And the way I see this is it's really starting to frustrate me now. And I think Arteta possibly should have taken him off a bit sooner in recent games. You look against Southampton, the Walcott goal. Maybe it's a bit harsh for me to criticise him, but Zinchenko, who I'm going to talk about, should be doing better there against Walcott. For the second goal, he loses his man against Southampton. Against Liverpool, he got nutmegged, and they scored a fantastic goal. And in general, I'm starting to see teams really target our left-hand side. And it's a weird one because it comes to the point and it comes to... You come to the conclusion is it worth having this man be so good going forward to the detriment of the defence? Because it's cost us a few times now, his defending, Zinchenko. Or should we blame Arteta for not taking him off sooner in games where we're up and bringing a more defensive-minded fullback in Tierney? I think there's a lot of times this season where Zinchenko should have come off a lot earlier. And just to clarify, I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's an amazing signer. I think he'll be brilliant at Arsenal. But I worry he's going to become a Trent problem at Arsenal. And by that, I mean, defensively, he gets exposed. I see, if you watch Arsenal, towards the end of games, they target our left-hand side, as I say. And I think we've got a bit of the Trent problem in Zinchenko. Amazing going forward in the sense that he keeps our midfield ticking. In a similar way, Trent is amazing going forward for the balls he whips in and their kind of rock and roll football. But I think it's a conversation that needs to be had because that's 3 or 4 goals now. And that's 3 or 4 goals that have cost us. That's 2 goals against Southampton. As much as his ball playing got us goals back in that game, is it going to become too much of a detriment? Are teams going to focus on that next season? Are people going to go, we need to attack that left-hand side of Arsenal's?
It's a damaging monologue, but yeah. I do feel like even Zinchenko going forward and picking up the ball in certain positions, he's been very wasteful in possession as well, which is kind of his strong suit. So
against Newcastle, he gave the ball away way too much.
Bro, he's been doing it for 3-4 games now, and it's kind of like, and you're also getting ripped apart sometimes in key moments. So I feel like he needs to know that there's competition. He's probably one of our most experienced players in terms of winning titles at City, and he's quite loud, and he's always preaching about how we have to keep mentally stable during games. But he's looked probably one of the most unstable players that we've had in the team, and it's kind of shocking to see. And I feel like it just makes it up a little bit, Tierney, he's been waiting in the wings. He's been keeping fit.
And recently. Did really well when he came on against Newcastle.
Yeah, he was so solid. He was covering for men, winning the ball. Obviously, there's a few times where, he could be a bit more technically savvy with the ball and kept the ball in certain positions instead of just hoofing it out.
Yeah.
Like, he's very old-fashioned, but I feel like Tierney deserves a start. And I hope he gets a start next game. But if he doesn't, it is what it is. I think Zinchenko is still a great player, and I think he would be able to turn it around. But Tierney probably will leave at the end of the season. He's seeing Zinchenko in front of him right now, who's making mistakes every game, and he's not, not necessarily getting punished for it, but he's not getting a look in. So, but I think Tierney might get a start against Brighton or the next one.
I think it's a luxury to have both players, and I think you've got to try and keep both players happy, personally. I think there's some games where you can line up with Tierney and you want that more outside attacking threat, and there's other times with Zinchenko who can keep it ticking. And Tierney has played in games where he's come in a bit. Now, again, I think Zinchenko is a brilliant player, but I just think when it goes wrong and he's having a bad day going forward, it's almost like, what's the point?
100%.
So I definitely think it's something that needs to be talked about. But I think it's something where there's no real answer to it. I think if it becomes too much of a problem, I think Arteta does need to look at it. It really is our left hand side version of Trent.
Get Tavares in.
Yeah, you're all right, mate. But yeah, and also I just want to touch on this. I'm starting to think some Arsenal players find him really annoying.
Who?
Zinchenko.
Really? Why?
I think he's a brilliant leader, but I think he overdoes it a bit sometimes. If you look at when we huddled in that Southampton game, Odegaard, just after they came out the huddle, was just like talking to him like, "Shut up."
Well, because it was his mistakes, isn't it?
Yeah. He's like, it's a bit odd sometimes. I love it from Zinchenko, but I can imagine that getting quite annoying sometimes as well. Gary Neville put it right. Said it pretty right. He was just like, why is he huddling? Like, he's the one that he should be focusing on defending, not focusing on motivating everyone now. I think it's brilliant to have that in your team, but I think he needs to start leading by example a bit more defensively. Because if I was a player and Zinky Winky had made 2 mistakes like that would just piss me off.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I
think I put forward quite a good case. I think it's just an interesting thing to examine. I think it's an interesting topic to discuss because, again, Zinchenko's revolutionised the way we played this season. If we don't have him in this team, I don't think we get anywhere near close enough to this title as we have. But I'm worried it's going to become a problem next season and he's going to have a bit of Trent to him.
No, I think he's a player that will be fine in the grand scheme of things. I think our defence will settle again once we get Saliba back and we'll be able to play with him. But, it's just a time. Every player kind of has these periods throughout the season. This is just his turn.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough as well.
Yeah. And I'm a Trent fan. I don't think Trent is that bad at defending when he wants to be. So,
that's the problem when he wants to be. It's the same as Zinchenko.